Jason was standing up because he did get back up to his feet. Ricardo, filling in the blank spaces, something I talk about a lot, you got to fill in the transitions. He caught Jason Knight in the transition as Jason Knight was standing and getting back up to his feet. That's when he clipped him and stunned him for the first time. Jason gets all the way up. He has his back up against the fence, and Ricardo is just teeing off, most of the shots landing flush clean to the face. Jason slides to one other side of the octagon. Ricardo walks him down and continues to land bombs. Jason runs all the way across the octagon to the other side. Ricardo walks him down, still calm, cool, collected, and lands more bombs. Jason Knight has a hell of a chin. Eventually, Ricardo beat him down to the ground. He got the top position, landed one last shot that knocked Jason's head all the way back. The refs had seen enough, stopped the fight. Jason protested a bit, but no, honey, no, baby, no, this was over. The refs saved you some undue damage. So Ricardo making his, you know, he's still in top 5. He's like always been ranked in top 5, but he doesn't really talk too much. We don't really talk about Ricardo Lamas, so I think this is a statement for him. Who would you like to see Ricardo Lamas fight next? Next up, onto the main card. I did not get this first pick, and I was nervous from the beginning. I should have changed it. I chose Jimmy Manuwa to beat Volkan Ozdemir. He did not. This also ended in the first round. There was no real filling out period. They both were kind of going at each other. They got into close quarters, into kind of a dirty boxing position up against the fence, real close as they were disengaging. Volkan again filling in the spaces in between, transitioning as they were disengaging. That's when he first clipped Jimmy Manuwa, stunned Jimmy Manuwa back. He chased him down, landed some more shots. He stalked him, got him onto the ground, and then he rained down some shots that knocked Jimmy Manuwa all the way out. Sleep. In about 36 seconds into the first round. 27 years old. This is his 3rd fight in the UFC. He is already ranked in the top 5. But I don't want to give him too much too soon. Dude, the guy at the top of your division? Wow. So maybe let him fight the guy beneath him, two spots even beneath him. You know, as the rankings go, the rankings all over the place. But if you are going to try to go off of him, the people who are ranked like 2 fighters beneath you and above you, y'all are kind of all in the same boat. So maybe give him someone 2 ranks below him, but let's not feed him to the wolves just yet. Let him grow. Great potential, and this may be the last time I pick against Volkan Ozdemir. Who would you like to see him fight next? And I hope Rumble Johnson comes back. Now, on to the next fight. I did not get this pick as well, and it was a close fight. I like both these guys. My heart broke to see either one of them lose. I chose Cowboy Donald Cerrone to beat Robbie Lawler. He did not. This ended in it was a unanimous decision, I believe, in Robbie Lawler's favor. And at first, I did not agree. As I was watching this in the bar, I didn't agree. But upon watching it again, kind of do. So let's get into it. First round, Robbie came out firing on all cylinders. Throwing a bunch of shots, all to the head, mostly to the head, but also some body shots as well, holding the back of Cerrone's head, landing some uppercuts, beat him from one side of the octagon to the other. It looked like it was going to be over quickly for Donald Cerrone, but he weathered the storm. He got through that. He was able to disengage from Robbie and be able to throw some shots, some kicks. He was working a lot of kicks, and he even got a takedown in the first round. This was more takedown attempts than we've ever seen from Cowboy Cerrone. I think it's just to kind of disarm the pressure of Robbie Lawler. He came back in the second round, found his range, landed multiple kicks and shots, even stunned Robbie Lawler in that second round, got some takedowns in that second round. So second round, he won almost as dominantly as Robbie won the first, but not quite. Third round was very close, but again, Cowboy landed more shots on paper, and at first I felt like he won, but upon watching it again, he didn't land that many more shots than Robbie Lawler did in that first round, or that third round, quite frankly. And Robbie was the one initiating all of the exchanges. He was the one pressing forward for majority of the round. When he landed, it did seem like he landed harder shots, cleaner shots. So I'm okay with a decision. I would have been okay with a draw as well, actually. So let me know what you thought of that fight. The crowd did boo, so did you think Cowboy won, and why? If you thought Robbie won, and why? Who should be next for both men? Cowboy seems to be finally growing into that welterweight body. He looked nice and thick, so I think he's gonna stay there at welterweight. So who would you like to see Robbie Lawler fight next, of course? Now, on to the first of the 3 title shots. We see the new women's featherweight champion, Miss Cris Cyborg. I think we all expected this. I predicted that her opponent, Miss Tanya Evinger, the Invicta Bantamweight champion, in her own right, taking this shot on short notice in a weight class above herself against arguably, not really arguably, the most dominating female striker in the business today. So I said that she would get out of the first round. She got out of the second round. So dude, hats off to Tonya Evinger. And people don't even they talk about the fact that she survived all the way into the third round, the fact that she was able to take her Cyborg down for a brief second, the fact that she was able to roll with a lot of Cyborg shots. So they were sliding a lot of them. She was rolling with a lot of them, so they didn't hit as cleanly. Also, when she got hit, she would immediately tie up Cyborg and get a hand on her. That's how she was able to extend this fight. But she also landed a lot of jabs. She actually did hit Cyborg, so I think she deserves credit for that too. And again, short notice, weight class above your own, taking on Cyborg for a belt. Her stock rose tremendously. I think in fact, we're already hearing the talks of, well, when are we going to see her in the bantamweight division in the UFC? And when she comes in, she's going to come in top 5. She's going to face top 5 opponent. I think we're all now looking for check-in for Miss Tonya Evinger. So good for her. Now, Cyborg, ladies, we're building this division around Cyborg. We know this. And if you're going to beat her, you need to do it now. Either do it now or wait like 7 years when she's on her way out, because she is getting better. She, oh my goodness, all that power and aggression, now backed by skill and a thought process. Cyborg was head moving, she was shoulder rolling, she had a little bit of footwork, she was mixing up head, body, head, she had some kicks involved. She is becoming a hybrid striker. She's getting better. That she finally ended this in the third round. This was her just picking apart Tonya Evinger, quite frankly. It was a matter of time. It came in the third round. It came from a knee, actually. It was a punch that landed. She got up against the cage and she landed a knee that kind of landed like right here. It dropped Tonya Evinger. She followed it up with a nice bomb, a nice shot to that landed pretty clean too through the guard. Ref had seen enough. You know, with the females, they kind of stop the fights a little, not a little early, but they definitely err on the side of caution with the ladies. And so that was enough for the ref. He was like, I'm gonna save you, Tonya. This is Cyborg. That's enough. So great win for Cyborg. Look, she's getting better. Tremendous improvement from her as a striker. And that is scary. Can't wait to see who she fights next. They'll be building this division around her. Now, on to the second title fight. And our co-main event. And still, I got this pick, still UFC welterweight champion, Mr. Tyron Woodley. He kept his belt against old man Damian Maia. This went all 5 rounds. It came to a unanimous decision. Tyron basically won all 5 rounds. And, yeah, it was lackluster, low on offensive output. Especially if you don't know what to look for. Damian Maia had over 20 or 21 takedown attempts and didn't land not one of them. There was definitely a chess match. But for me, my frustration, I wouldn't have booed the way the crowd did. The crowd booed Tyron out the blue. I didn't think it was that boring. But the frustration, the first 3 rounds, you're trying not to get taken down. This is a specialist. You do not want Damian Maia to get a hand on you for any reason at all. I get that. But when the championship rounds came, you're all sweaty. You were evading the takedowns with ease, Tyron. With ease. It was clear Damian's game plan was not going to work on you. So once that was established, I just felt like move forward a bit. Just have a higher offensive output. Don't do anything dangerous, don't take any risks, but work towards a finish. Be finish oriented like a Mighty Mouse is. Mighty Mouse is, he didn't have to submit Horiguchi in the last 4 seconds of that fight. He was beating them all 5 rounds, but he did anyway because he's finish oriented. John Jones has a high offensive output, and when you have a high offensive output, you create openings. You don't have to just sit back and wait and be a counterpuncher, especially when you know that you have your opponent's number. And by the 4th and 5th round, it was clear, Tyron, he wasn't taking you down. He couldn't get a handle on you. Couldn't get a hand on you. So maybe, hope everybody's okay. It's the fire department. It's this fire season here in California. Hope it's not too bad. Okay, by the 4th and 5th rounds, it was clear he wasn't taking you down. And I think if he would have moved forward more, had a higher offensive output, you could have created an opportunity. And I think you could have finished Damian Maia. You busted him up in the 1st round. So had his eye nearly swelled shut in the 1st round. So when you choose to move forward, same thing with Wonder Boy, when you choose to move forward, when you choose to fight, you create opportunities and you damage your opponent. You nearly finish them. So why not try to incorporate that more into your arsenal? It's frustrating. I get you fight your game. I get it. You're the champ, so it's working, but I was a little frustrated by that. I felt like he could have finished Damian Maia. All right, but he's still the champ. Who would you like to see him fight next? It's not going to be GSP. Dana White made that clear. Now, on to the main event. Got this pick as well. And new UFC light heavyweight champion, Johnny Bones Jones. He got his belt back from Mr. Daniel Cormier DC. And yeah, like I said, you put all of their personalities and what they've done in their personal lives aside, because when we talk about their personal life, their personalities, we don't really know both of them. They've probably been painted unfairly in the media. But as far as athletes, I wanted to see greatness unfold in front of my eyes. I wanted to see John come back, the ultimate redemption story. And he did, although DC did much, much better in this fight. Let's get into it. So this ended in the 3rd round. He finished him. First loss for DC, John Jones. First fit person to finish him, John Jones. It's got to eat away at him. As Dominic Cruz says, losing to him twice lets him know that, yeah, you really weren't the champion. Oof. All right, but he did do better. He was able to get inside that range and land a lot of shots. Now, John opened up quick and fast in a hurry. He won the first round. He jumped on DC, was landing all kinds of shots, short shots, kicks, a lot of oblique kicks to the thighs. He opened up quick, fast, and like I said, in a hurry. But DC actually landed a lot of shots in that first round, more so than he landed in the first fight. He was able to get inside on the range, get in on the range. He was able to tie up John a bit. He was able to land his uppercuts. He was able to walk him down, not chase him down a bit in that first round, but he lost the first round. Now the second round, like in the first fight, he won, except for he won it more convincingly in this fight. Again, able to get inside on John Jones and land some serious shots, to grab him and land some uppercuts. He was first to the punch. He was walking down John, pushing John back. John landed some shots, of course. This was a high offensive output from both men. That's what I was saying with Tyron Woodley. You can have a higher offensive output and not wait so much. So we had a high offensive output from both of these men here. So even in that second round, even though DC won it more convincingly, he still got tagged by some knees and by some elbows from John Jones. John Jones was going mostly to the body. Most of the kicks were to the body, were to the legs throughout the first 2 rounds, and I'm pretty sure we know why. That was a setup. On to the 3rd round, more of the same. DC still landing shots. He's still getting on the inside. He's still pushing John back. John's still going to the body, going to the legs, until he gets DC to drop his guard a bit. Noticing that DC dips his head to the left, something he had noticed early on in other fights. Timed a head kick perfectly. Stunned DC all the way back. You could tell John Jones is chasing him now. He actually tripped him a bit, which made DC stumble and back up against the cage. He tried a flying knee, missed that. The shin kind of caught his stomach a little bit, and then he clocked him. DC falls on the ground. John Jones comes raining down with elbows and shots that hurt my feelings watching it in the bar. That's how hard these shots were. Knocks DC all the way out. Sleep. 3 times over. DC is slumped on the ground. The ref stopped this fight a little bit too late in all of our eyes. I understand that DC is the champ. You give them more leeway, but there's no more leeway when the guy is knocked all the way out. There was about 3 shots that DC landed, or that John landed after DC was knocked out. And unlike sometimes we see a guy get knocked out, another shot land, and that shot wake him back up, that didn't happen here. Which each shot, it seems like John Jones was knocking DC further and further into the sunken place. This was ugly. This was ugly. An ugly knockout afterwards for, gosh, like 2-3 minutes. They couldn't get DC to sit down. He was completely out of it, did not know what happened, thought the fight was stopped early, thought the fight was still going on. They couldn't get him to sit down. Joe Rogan interviewed him after being knocked out, and even he said he shouldn't have done that, and I agree. I don't know why you broke your own rule. I understand you felt like you wanted to give him a shot, a chance to express himself, probably because you know him very well because you work with him. But after being KO'd, can you really even express yourself and say the things you want to say? Most likely not. So I agree with Joe Rogan. He shouldn't have interviewed him afterwards. John Jones dropped to his knees in tears, was very humble, gave it up to DC, said he was a great man, a general all the way around, a great fighter. Went over to him, kissed him on the back of the neck and everything. So this was a nice change in tone from Jon Jones as well. And then of course afterwards he said, Brock Lesnar, if you want to know how it feels to get your butt kicked by a man who weighs 40 pounds less than you, then meet me in the octagon. Drop the mic.